Happy Monday, Broncos country. This is Let's Talk Broncos. I'm Bri Mathis here with Zach Seegers and Joey Richards. As you can tell, we're live and we're bringing you all our Denver Broncos takes from, we're past Thursday. We're on to this next week, although I was very shocked to my system that it was actually Monday. How are you guys feeling? What's on your minds? Let's get into it. Zach, how are you today?
I'm doing pretty well. Threw me a curveball there. I'm doing fantastic. Moved into the new apartment, and it had floors, doors, windows, the whole nine. I couldn't be more ecstatic. Excited to finish moving in there once I get done recording this show. Sienna at Cherry Creek. Burn it to the ground. It sucks. No one moved there. It was a nightmare. That was my old place. I'll bury him. I've got no problem. Fuck you, Julie.
We're fired up here. Joey, how are you?
I'm doing good. I had a busy day. I will say that yesterday was amazing, being that we didn't have Broncos football. So yeah, I'm doing really good. This long break is good for my mental health, and then now I can get back into it and be like, I don't know, not as like doom and gloom, everything's burning. Tell everyone what I can actually feel after thinking about it a little bit.
Yeah, I like that. Getting a little bit composed. Obviously, a lot of football happened on Sunday. Did either of you watch those games, or did you take a step back from football this weekend?
I watched them. I love watching random NFL football. It's the best. It's the best. I was putting just random bets on everything, just like ridiculous ones, and getting really fired up over it. I want nothing, obviously. But yeah, I had a good Sunday.
Good. Zach, good to hear it. Yeah. Did you watch any football there, Zach?
I did. Sorry. Distracted. Yeah, I watched a little bit of football. That was nice. Just like having a nice football Sunday, not clouded by the 2022 Denver Broncos and their slop was kind of nice.
Speaking of slop, we got the pigs in the chat. Yay. I think I can call them that, right? Yeah.
We'll the pigs in the chat is crazy.
It's the emojis. Go ahead and throw them in there. And if you're watching over on Twitter and you want to interact with the show, just like DBronx1414 just did, you can hop on over to the YouTube stream or the Facebook, and you can chat with us there. We'll interact with you. We'll throw your comments and questions up on the screen. Because we're kind of talking about, sorry, I'm a little bit sniffly. Because we've been talking a lot about the Denver Broncos and kind of where they're at the season, we thought it appropriate to go ahead and take a quarterly look at some of the winners, some of the offensive, defensive players of the years, which rookies are standing out, the MVP, the anti-MVP. I don't know. We'll get into it. We'll do that right now. That's how we're going to start this show off. And yeah, let's see. I'm going to click this banner off so it's not over there. Sorry for the technicalities, folks. What should we start with? I think Offensive Player of the Year.
OPOY.
OPOY. Joey, who's on your mind here for this category?
Okay. I think there's only one answer, guys. I really do. Mm-hmm. I think there's only one answer here.
Russell Wilson.
Lloyd Cushenberry.
It can't be Russell Wilson right now. I hope that we do this at the end of the year, and it is. That would be pretty crazy. But I'm going to have to say, it was the easiest answer. It's Corlin Sutton. I think it has to be Corlin Sutton. He's been a great player. He's been the most consistent player on that Broncos offense. Not even close. He's been making great catches. He's been consistent. I saw him drop one, last game, but it's like, hey, I guess it happens to everybody sometimes because you can't complain about it. When you just look at the stats, anything that you look at Corlin Sutton related, it's going to come out positive right now. Especially when this receiver room is not looking so good outside of him, right? It's nice to have that one piece. If we didn't have Corlin Sutton right now, it would be really, 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 really scary. It would be really scary. So shout out Corlin Sutton. That is definitely my Offensive Player of the Year.
It's a shoo-in. I mean, I don't even know who else you would go with. Like, I think Javonte Williams, maybe, like if we did it right after week 1, he would have been the choice. But yeah, I don't think there's another choice. It has to be Cortland Sutton, and by a wide margin. It's just man, bad times for the Broncos right now. I think you're going to see Corlin Sutton's value underlined here in coming weeks as opposing defenses throw more and more of their personnel at slowing down Cortland Sutton and just demand this Broncos offense, hey, beat us with someone else. And I think more often than not, it's going to go the way of Thursday Night Football, where they're not able to. And that'll just further demonstrate how valuable Cortland Sutton is to this offense. I don't think, like earlier, I was talking about how he was top 5 in E yards. I don't think he'll finish there just because he does have to continue to produce to rank really highly in that stat. And I think defenses are just going to throw everything they can at stopping Cortland Sutton at this point. But yeah, he's a monster, and this offense would be considerably worse without him, which is kind of hard to imagine.
I know, it's really crazy. And we recently saw that a couple of wide receivers are getting a move around here. Kendall Hinton obviously is one of them, being moved from the practice squad up to the active roster quite frequently. A little questions about maybe possibly where Jalen Virgil falls in wide receivers. They're keeping a few of them because wide receiver Trinity Benson, per Mike Kliss on the waiver wires, going ahead onto the practice squad. How do you guys feel about kind of a little bit of the movements that are going on here? I know a little about Broncos country obviously has been in a state of worry since Tim Patrick went down with that injury this offseason or during training camp. So are they making moves here? Are they just creating a little bit more depth? How do you guys feel about that movement in the wide receiver group?
Yeah, I think they need more depth. They need it. Do I expect a lot out of Trinity Benson? Not necessarily. I thought that one off season he did have with the Broncos, I went to every single training camp I could that year, and he was terrific. He was really, really good. He would look like a really crisp route runner. He could beat people deep down the field, make tough catches. He looked awesome in training camp. Obviously traded him to the Lions, and now I'm left not knowing after that stint what exactly they have there, because that Lions wide receiver room last year was not good at all. You had guys like Khalif Raymond, another Bronco, getting substantially more snaps than Trinity Benson did. And now obviously not even on the Lions. So I don't know what to expect from him anymore. I wouldn't say, oh, this is a huge get for the Broncos, but it is a familiar face. And, he did have a big offseason a couple years ago.
Yeah. Sorry, my Mac is deciding to take off. So if you can hear the fan, I'm sorry if that's a distracting sound at all. But yeah, I think it just has to be. I don't know. It sucks. I just don't know who else you go with.
No, totally understand. Let's hop on over to Defensive Player of the Year. Zach, I'm going to throw this one over to you.
Yeah, I think I almost wish I wasn't first here, because I think I know the direction you two are going to go with this one. And just to add a little diversity to the conversation, because I think this one's also a bit of a lock, I'm going to throw out Randy Gregory. I want to get him some love, because when we do a midseason award, the Chubb's a great choice too. When we get to the midseason awards, Gregory is not going to be in there with the time he's missing, but I do want to give him credit for what he did through the first quarter of the season, and that was truly remarkable. Every play he was on the field, he was making a big impact. If you look at who the Broncos' most productive pass rusher was on a per snap basis, it's Randy Gregory by a fairly wide margin. And then if you look at the most productive pass rushers in the NFL on a per snap basis, it's Randy Gregory and all the other elite guys, not TJ Watt, because obviously he was injured in week 1, but sorry, I'm trying to get a decent data sample here so I can look at, it's a guy we'll talk about in a little, I think, for a different segment. Nick Bosa, Joey Bosa, Randy Gregory, Micah Parsons, and Myles Garrett, rounding out that top 5. He is playing like a truly elite pass rusher. It sucks the injury happened. I think he was right there with Patrick Surtain for best defensive player on the team. And I think pass rushers have a slightly bigger impact. So I'm going to gloss over the fact he didn't play in the 5th game and pick Randy Gregory as my defensive player of the first quarter of the year.
I like it. I don't mind it. I mean, I think we all know the person that should win this. I have it in mind, but I'm also going to go different because I'm going to leave this player for the leader of the fan club next. I am going to go with the edge rusher opposite of him, Bradley Chubb. Bradley Chubb's been terrific. Another player I remember entering this year, and it's funny that we have two edge guys here because I was very outspoken about how while this edge room did have a very high ceiling, and I think we're seeing that or we've seen it, it also had a substantially low floor, right? Because Randy Gregory and Bradley Chubb, we didn't know exactly what to expect of them, especially health-wise. When Bradley Chubb has came into the season looking like the player we all thought he was going to be when we drafted him. He's looked terrific. He's looked awesome every single game. Always has been a pretty good run player, but we're really seeing the explosiveness this year. Some of that stuff that we've been missing coming off of injury and stuff like that. So it's a welcome thing, and I'm happy for him as well, being that he's on a contract here. I also want to throw that out there.
Yeah, I feel like you might also see an uptick in calls for him as trade fodder. You know what I mean? Like that's how well he's performing, and unfortunately, that gives you a little bit of a
trade value,
a mark above your head. But Chubb has been fantastic. I think that's absolutely a great choice. I'm sad to see Randy Gregory out with that injury. I think that also is it's weird. Joey, you hit it on the head there, though. We were talking about questions at depth at that position, and now it feels like everything's headed in the right direction there. But I am absolutely 100% going with Patrick Surtain. I think that there's no way to say that he is not the defensive player of the year for this Broncos team. He's been absolutely outstanding. Biases aside, I think the play on the field obviously speaks to that. There have been no questions about how he plays, his role on this defense, and actually kind of blowing by expectations, right? Because you have him at this ceiling. What is he going to do his second year? And he goes ahead and he just plays above that. Like, it's what we wished for. It's what we could have hoped for. And he's doing exactly that. I think it's important to throw that out there. Samuel Castro threw it out that the entire D line deserves it. Yeah. That is an interesting take. I do think that the line sometimes has been a little bit up and down. I think that's why I would pick Patrick Surtain above all else, just because he's been so damn consistent. And then D-Bronx saying we have to tag Chubb or extend him. He's too good to lose. I absolutely agree there. I think that's where the Broncos need to go with that. Specifically, if he stays healthy, you don't want to lose him at that position. Go ahead, Joey.
Can I hit on that comment about the whole D-line deserves it? It's interesting because I shout out to DJ Jones too, man. He in every single game.
Draymond,
yeah. But like DJ shocks me a little bit, like for how good he is, like just absolute dominant force up the middle, especially in the run. Like guy is an absolute monster mauler. So I'm excited for that.
Was leading the NFL in run stop win rate going into week 5. I'll see if he still holds that title, but the very best run stopper in the NFL through the first 4 weeks of the season.
Yeah.
Sorry, I thought you were going to say more there, so I was giving you time to do so. I absolutely love those picks. Love those picks for the defense. Zach, did you have anything to add there before I move on to the next category? Awesome. Let's go to Rookie of the Year. I'm going Greg Dulcich. I'm kidding, obviously. Joey, who do you got for this category?
I mean, it's been pretty underwhelming, right? I don't think we at least I expected it, in that the Broncos didn't have a first or second round pick. You know, it's not very often you see third round picks go in there and really compete for starting roles or play really well when they do get the opportunity. So the one I'm going to have to go with is the one that I think has played the most, in Tamari Mathis.
Really?
Wait, who do you have?
Well, I'm going to go Montreal, Washington, but I don't want to rain on your parade.
Really? I don't know.
Go with Tamari Mathis. No, make your Mathis case. I think that's good. Yeah. Go.
I think Tamari Mathis.
I'm not poo-pooing the pit. It just surprised me a little bit with how you were. I
guess Montreal did play the most. I was completely lying. Montreal played the most. I don't know what I'm talking about sometimes. Tamari Mathis, though, I think. I mean, has he been terrific? I don't think he's been terrific. Has he made some good plays, though? Yeah, definitely. I think especially tackling, that's a really good thing that we've seen out of him. He's not just a guy that's going to go and, run at someone with the arm tackle. He's going to really, chop you. Like, it's Kareem Jackson-esque, right? In his ability to tackle. And that's really exciting because, hey, guys, I don't think it's always expected for cornerbacks to tackle, but boy, is it really, really nice when they do. And especially not just make a tackle, but tackle really well, like stop them where they are. I want to see Tamari Mathis more in the box in the future. I do. Maybe playing that nickel role just to get a look. I want to see what he's like. I like having those guys are going to go run and hit closer to where the running back's going to be, closer to the quarterback. You can bring them on blitzes. You can do different stuff like that. Obviously, K1 Williams right now is played really good, so you can't just put him there, especially now that Ronald Darby's injured. But yeah, has he been terrific? Definitely not. I thought he was picked on last game when he had to go in there for Darby, but by default, I have Tamari Mathis.
I really don't hate it. I actually kind of love that pick because it was Montreal Washington for me, just I think from the standard of how well he's been playing. But I think Tamari Mathis isn't getting enough recognition. So I appreciate you throwing him out there. Zach, what do you have to say about that?
Of course.
I mean, I think Tamari Mathis is a good pick.
Hater.
I think there's a few other names I'd actually go to first, just because he hasn't wowed me. I think he's been okay, but I would go. Mathis might have won if he didn't lose the Colts game. I like that from D Bronx, and I think he put it well. Like, he did play, but it wasn't, his sample size right now isn't all that impressive, which is why I'm comfortably going to go with Montreal Washington, who's arguably been the best punt returner in all of football. He's hasn't been as good of a kick returner, but he's been arguably the best punt returner in all of football. He's had a few splash plays on offense, though certainly you'd like to see him more involved there. Yeah, I think it's got to be Montreal just by default. I don't think he's been super impressive, but I think he's been the most impressive of the bunch. Outside of him, I almost went a little outside the box and went with a rookie coach, not Nathaniel Hackett, but Ejiro Evero, a rookie defensive coordinator, because the Broncos have gotten that little of their rookies that I felt I really had to distort the rules of the game. But I'll go with Montreal Washington and stay honest.
I have a tougher time with it just because it's like been pretty much exclusively special teams. And I don't know if I would put any other special teams player as rookie of the year. You know, I just value the cornerback position much greater.
Interesting. I think that's fair, but special teams players are players too. And he's been doing a remarkable job. He's the special teams player. He is Mr. Special Teams. I don't know. I'm going to pop that one up. I'm on the Montreal Washington hype train. I absolutely love him, love what he's doing for the team. And I think his persona and locker room existence is really important for this team right now. He's a stand-up guy. I'm not saying Tamari Mathis isn't. I really like that choice, and I'm actually more defensive-minded than I am anything else. So I think both of them are good, but I was already on Montreal, so I'm not going to act like I was going to pick Tamari Mathis, but I think it's a good choice. My goodness. All right. Yeah, you're welcome. You're welcome, Joey.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
Let's do, is it time for MVP?
Oh, I don't have a question.
Or Breakout and then MVP.
All right. Let's do Breakout
cool.
Star of the Year.
I didn't have the graphic for a minute.
No, you're fine. I'm an idiot. Go ahead, Zach.
Okay. A guy I also almost went with for Rookie of the Year just to break the rules. And then I went, no, we've got the Breakout Star category. I'll throw him in there. Baron Browning. Oh my God. Baron Browning. I was wrong. This is another one where I was wrong. There's a few off-season takes where I'm happy to go, yeah, I was big wrong on that. This is the only one I'm happy to say it. The others have put me into a deep state of depression. But this one, I'm happy to say I was wrong about, because Baron Browning, the move from inside linebacker to edge has worked. It's a little weird that he's a rotational player, but when he gets on the field, he's been unbelievable. He's leading the NFL, the entire NFL in pass rush win rate right now. All those guys I mentioned earlier, Joey Bosa, Nick Bosa, Micah Parsons, all of them, he's ahead of them. And it is in a smaller sample size. But even if you go to a larger sample size, something like 20 pass rushes in an NFL game, which is a totally reasonable sample size, and you go back all the way to 2006 and encapsulate the entirety of J.J. Watt's NFL career, the entirety of Von Miller's NFL career, the entirety of Khalil Mack's NFL career, Alden Smith, his prime, take every great pass rusher from the last 15 years and look at the entirety of their career. None of them have had a single game as dominant as Baron Browning's first career start at edge. Just incredibly promising. unlikely he keeps that clip up across the course of his career because, again, it was the best game PFF has recorded, and he did get to go against a pretty shoddy right tackle, or tackles in general. But was really blown away by how he played on Thursday night, and hope he heals back from the wrist quick because I want to see more.
Yeah, I think that's a good pick. Just, was it like you saw flashes in some games here and there, right? Like here and there, all the way up until this Colts game where it was just like when he got the green light to start and get a majority of those first string reps, he blew up. He was awesome. I hate to remind everyone here, but I did win my bet on over 1.5 sacks. So I'm a believer. Zach
You
was
hate
right.
rubbing that one in. Just hate it.
Wait, he's got to get. That's actually funny. So I'll look this up actually really quick because
Do you know how many pressures
I want to
he
see how many
had?
pressures he had.
Oh,
Okay.
Perfect.
Okay.
That's hysterical.
Well, yeah, Aaron Browning switching from middle linebacker to edge. I thought that it was. I mean, I always knew it was a position you could rely a lot on traits with, but I didn't think he was just going to be freaking going crazy in his first career start. I didn't think that. And Zach is right. He played against a very shoddy tackle, but so do a lot of edge rushers. Tackle is not a very strong position in the NFL.
I need him to get to 40 pressures for my preseason bold prediction to cash. He is at 14 through 5 weeks and only has one start, is about to get more starts. Recorded 10, a quarter of what I needed for my season-long bet in his one career start in 20 snaps. That's absolutely insane. I love Baron Browning. He is the man.
One game wonder.
Clip it. I want that to hang with Joey until the grave.
It was mildly offensive. I wasn't expecting it. To not be redundant, although I agree with both of you, I think that is absolutely the one to pick. I think Javonte Williams was probably on track to do so. Just a heartbreaking loss here. Samuel Castro says Alex Singleton hasn't been talked about. Yeah, that's true.
Last game.
He did play very good. But
he played pretty good last game. I thought Alex Singleton played pretty good, especially stepping in for Jewel, right? Like I thought he was pretty good. I like him a lot on special teams as well. If we're talking about Alex Singleton, special teams standout for sure. Guy that can go really run and hit. That's the best way I could describe Alex Singleton. He's just a run and hit football player. That's what he does.
He's like what everyone who hates Josie Jewell thinks Josie Jewell is. Just like this run and hit linebacker and really one-dimensional. And I think he's great at that one dimension. He wouldn't be a breakout for me just because I don't think the impact's quite been there. He's greatly outperformed my expectations, so totally gets credit for that. But yeah, I don't know, like even Breakout, we talked about DJ Jones. Like I would go with him, I think, for Breakout first. I think Caden Stearns would be another good pick. Ronald Darby, unfortunately, would be a good pick. I'm trying to think if there's anyone else that jumps to mind. Like maybe you could go Montrell Washington, Corliss Waitman if he had more than just that one good week. I don't know. I'm unfortunately running out of names very quickly.
That was a really weird way to just like throw Corliss in there, like and just sneak him under the way. And next for biggest disappointment, Andrew Beck.
You come to me for the specialist.
Stay on brand, Zach Seegers. I like it. Stay on brand.
we don't go that far here on Let's Talk Broncos. Yeah, I think the most obvious choice is going to have to be Baron Browning, who is day to day with that wrist injury. Josie Jewell also week to week. I really didn't think that was going to keep him out for very long, but it sounds like it's a little bit of a bang up that seems to be plaguing Josie Jewell. I think that we've talked about that a little bit, how he can't seem to get past the injuries. Hopefully it's not anything serious and he's able to be back on that field soon. I think everyone in Broncos country is hoping to see that. All right, guys, it's that time. It's the MVP category. Let's hit it. Who wants to go first? No. Zach? No. Okay.
Oh, I'll do it. I was just trying to celebrate MVP. I don't know.
I thought you were saying not me.
My nomination for MVP, I think, is Patrick Surtain II. I gave Randy Gregory little reward for what he's done with the DPOY nod. But Patrick Surtain II is just the truth on this team. And value, I think, can be measured in multiple ways. It's what always makes this award difficult to figure out when award season comes around. It's so narrative based and whatnot. I think Patrick Surtain's the most valuable Bronco, not only for what he's doing in terms of helping the team win games, but in terms of being like the only entertaining part of this roster right now. It's like one of the very few things that like can give Broncos fans life and hope and a little warm, fuzzy feeling inside. And I think the value of that is great. So for that, as well as how much he's helping the team attempt to win football games, Patrick Surtain II gets my vote. No Andrew Beck to the people commenting that. And I don't think George Payton can get it either to the people commenting.
There is multiple votes in the chat for Andrew Beck. I just wanted to make sure everyone was aware. Samuel Castros also agreeing with you with Patrick Surtain. I can't fight it. I'm not even going to attempt to. MVP for me category. You put it pretty perfectly. He's the one shining thing that I want to see every time the Broncos play, and he seems to be everywhere. You hear his name almost every single play. I can't argue against that. He's absolutely entertaining to watch, and I'm so glad that he's a Denver Bronco. Joey, who are you going with?
I am also going Patrick Surtain. It's unanimous. The guy is the MVP through a quarter. The Broncos MVP through a quarter of the season. It has to be. Like Bri said, he is the most consistent. It's like there's been a couple players in Broncos history where it's the Broncos have been really bad, but I still really look forward to watching this player. And when the Broncos are losing, I zone in on that one player to try to keep a happy mind going. And Surtain's playing that role for me this year. He's phenomenal. You hear cornerbacks like Richard Sherman, Darius Slay is so outspoken about it. It's actually kind of crazy. I don't know if I've ever seen another player give this crazy of a cosign. It's every single week Darius Slay is talking about Patrick Surtain. I just heard him on a podcast talk about how he thinks Surtain is the best corner in football by the end of this year. So you have to go with him. He's awesome. He's awesome. Didn't shadow, but played against Devontae Adams really, really well. Shadowed DK Metcalf. We saw what happened there. They weren't even looking his way in the Indy game. They weren't straight up and down, not even like trying to throw at Surtain. So you have to give it to him. He's phenomenal. He's shutting down one side of the field, whether teams are throwing at him or not. It's just different ways of getting there. He's playing. He's having a hell of a year.
Yeah. I mean, he went toe-to-toe against the best receiver in football and more or less locked him down. Like Devontae Adams had a good stat line that game, but if you look at what his stat line was when he was going up against Patrick Surtain, he looked like a mediocre receiver on an average week, And I think that's such a valuable defensive weapon to have, especially in the modern NFL, especially in the landscape of the AFC West. I didn't like the pick at the time, but fuck, it worked out.
There you go.
That's a perfect note to end on there. I know.
Okay, I was right there with you, man.
Did you guys just?
Can we shout out Justin Fields real quick?
No.
That run against Minnesota got called back by holding, but woof.
He's playing good though. He's playing good. Anyways, carry on.
Remove. All right, guys. I was watching Twitter over here. Sorry, I know I'm not supposed to do that, but the Raiders just went up on the Chiefs for Monday Night Football. Derek Carter, Devontae Adams. Finally, some connections there. Fantastic. It's that time of the evening for Let's Talk Broncos. It's Joey's question of the day.
Let's go. Joey's question of the day. All right. So this former Broncos safety, mostly known for his run defense and not his run defense, but his hard hitting and playing in the box style. But this question is, how many interceptions did Steve Atwater have in his career? Closest wins.
12.
Okay, go ahead, Zach.
How many interceptions did he have in his whole career?
Yeah. Closest wins.
I'll go 11. I'll take the I'm going to be a dick.
I think Bri said 11 now.
No, I said 12.
Oh, 12. It's 24. Both of you are wrong.
Should not
I
have
was
taken
close.
the under. I
I was
boxed her out the
close.
wrong way.
28. D-Bronx is always right there every single time.
I'd be so frustrated if I was
27.
D-Bronx because he's always like 1 or 2 off.
Yeah. Yeah, but 24. That pretty good.
Doesn't
Shout out
matter
to him.
who's closest. It just matters who's rightest. I don't know. This has been
It
Let's
does
Talk
matter who's
Broncos.
closest, actually.
Wait,
You
no,
buried
wait.
yourself.
We have finally Caboose got it 24. There we go. Woo. That's hilarious. All right, guys. It's been a fun evening with all of you. We're gonna go watch some Monday Night Football, guys. Where can everybody find your stuff?
Everyone go
we're
follow me at JR Drafts and then find my Running About House Sports.
You're pointing the wrong way, Bri. I know it looks different on your screen. Find my writing over at My Eye Sports, Twitter at Zach_Seegers for some quick Broncos takes, and then follow us every day of the week. Please give us likes if you're watching on Facebook or YouTube.
Please.
The likes help us out so much. So thank you.
Retweet our podcast on Twitter.
That would be a bonus too.
That'd be cool.
Way you can tell the friend about a show or support it. Yeah, very quick, very easy, and it really helps us out. So thank you.
Cool, guys.
Thank you. We appreciate you. You can find me over on Twitter, Bri Mathis 303, talking Broncos all the time. Too many hours today. I've got an echo now, so I got to get out of here. Thanks for stopping by, and we'll talk to you tomorrow. Let's go Broncos.
Let's go Broncos.